Nithyananda. My name is Ma Mahat Buddha Charitrananda, and today I would like to share about my experience during the Dasha Dakshinamurthy Darshans. So, this happened 3 nights ago at about 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. We were actually preparing to sleep, and my younger son started requesting for food. So this situation actually has been happening like on and off for the past 2 to 3 years, but it's gotten more frequent recently. So then I told him that it doesn't make sense because we had a late dinner tonight, and he seemed to have been eaten his fill, and didn't seem like he would be hungry, and he didn't mention anything about it. So I told him that you know seeing that it's like that, I think it's better that we wait for tomorrow to eat so that you will not have indigestion, because it's been happening for 2 to 3 years. So I've actually gone through the full spectrum of trying to deal with this pattern. So I tried letting him eat as well, but it's like it will repeat. So there's no end to it. So then he will say that every night, and he will want to eat every night. And after I give it to him consecutively for a few days, both of them started getting indigestion. So it wasn't the solution to the problem. So then I decided that I really wanted to resolve this problem tonight. So I started chanting the Mahavakya. And I saw that it was a feeling from my ex-helper, Auntie Tet. It was not his feeling. It was a feeling of powerlessness, feeling that he wants to eat, but yet he is not given and he has no choice. So it came from Auntie Tet because Auntie Tet is non-vegetarian, but she came to work for us, and we are a vegetarian household. So we asked her before employing her whether it's okay, and she said yes. But I guess at the beginning, there were such things can happen and such feelings can happen. So it passed on to my younger son. But even so, even after, so I told him to drop it because this is not his feeling, it's from Auntie Tet. But even so, he continued crying. So I continued to chant the Mahavakya. And then suddenly he started to raise his finger. And that was somehow, last time I would get impatient, I would scold him. But somehow that night, I caught that it was something very important, because nowadays he doesn't do that anymore. He only used to do that when he was younger, and it was difficult for him to express himself. So this time I carried him, and we went to the direction that he was pointing to, which was the kitchen. So he was pointing to a food shelf. And before we did anything, I suddenly, from my left ear, I heard Auntie Tet telling him that she was probably taking food for him and telling him it was also late at night, and I refused to give him food because that's what I did last time, because it didn't make sense. At dinner he ate his fill, so it didn't make sense, so I didn't give it to him. So she was giving him the food and telling him, your parents don't love you. They don't give you food when you're hungry, and they always bring your brother out, they don't bring you out. Only I love you. So she told him that. And I was shocked. But I immediately, of course, I wanted to verify with him. So I repeated what I heard, and I asked him, did Auntie Tet tell you this? And his expression just told me the answer. Because he was crying, then he stopped and he nodded his head. He was shocked. I could see that he was shocked that I knew what Auntie Tet told him. Because she probably told him in Burmese, not English. And I don't understand Burmese. So then I started doing completion with him and explaining to him that we really love him, and why it seemed like we took his brother out but we didn't take him out, and I explained to him why it's not good to eat late at night. So then I could see that he was complete, and he slept soundly after that. So I realized that after that I was so grateful to Swamiji, because this thing has been going on for 2 to 3 years, and we've not been able to resolve it. And every time it happens, every time the incompletion comes up, Every time he wants food and we didn't give him at night, this incompletion will come up and he will feel that we do not love him. So then he will start to point there because he's been trying to complete all this while. So that's why he pointed there, because he's trying to tell us that, during this, there was once where Auntie Ted brought me here and told me that y'all don't love me. So do you love me? That's actually what he was trying to say, but he wasn't able to communicate because he was only like 1 or 2 year old at that time when it happened. So I find that it's so amazing, and I feel so blessed by Swamiji that because we are his disciples, so he's really taking care of us, and this kind of incompletion he helped my younger son to complete. Because if it's any other person, if people don't know Swamiji, this thing would never be known. It would never be known that this incident happened because she spoke in a language that we didn't know. So I felt so grateful to Swamiji, and it actually also helped me with my own incompletion with my mother. Because when I was explaining to my son, when I was completing with him, I told him that at that point of time we were very busy working and we couldn't take care of him and his brothers. That's why we hired aunties to take care of him and his brother. So I told him that we made some mistakes, but it's because we were first time parents, so we really didn't know any better then. That's why it happened. And I realized that that's exactly what my mother told me. So when I was doing completion with her last time, I used to get really angry because she always used this as an excuse. I feel that it's an excuse last time. I couldn't understand it. And when I told my son this as an explanation, I understood that it's true. The love she has for me is there. It's just that she didn't know how to express that love, and that love was expressed wrongly, but that love is there. So, and I felt like crying too because I cried actually because I also completed with my mother. So in this one thing, it completed my younger son and myself with my mother. So I'm really very thankful to Swamiji for this experience. And of course, very thankful to Dakshinamurthy. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening to my experience as well. Nithyanandam.